I'm Kalisha, and we are the Christ of Praises. You're listening to NRP Media and Radio, reaching you where you are. No boundaries, no limitations.
It's a new season. It's a new day. Join me, Lillian McDonald, here on NRP Radio, where it's all about focusing on our health and wellness. When? Every Monday at 6:30 p.m. with repeats on Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Broadcasting on the platform of nrpmediaja.com, Facebook, YouTube at nrpmediaja. See you then. It's a new season. Yes, it's a new day. Welcome back to your health and wellness program. Yes, here on NRP Radio on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. with repeats on Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Yes, we had a little lull, but we are back. And we are broadcasting on the platform of nrpmediaja.com, Facebook, YouTube, and NRP Media JA. Join us. So today, the decision was taken to go a little bit into the life of a student who would have transitioned from high school into university, crossing the borders of teenager life to adulting, which sometimes can be such a challenge, sometimes can be such a very defining moment. It can come with a lot of anxieties. Sometimes it comes with a lot of, insecurities. Excitement is like a full mixture of all sorts of things. It's like from one end of the continuum to the next. So today we have a special guest, my older daughter, and she is Justine McDonald. And today I'll just be asking her a few questions to which she will respond as honestly as possible, with the hope that some young woman, some young man who is listening, who is about to transition, or who may be in the process of, crossing over from the high school years to university, or perhaps from university into the job world. These are some of the challenges that may exist or may be anticipated. And so as she shares her experience, I really do hope that someone will be helped, someone will be encouraged, someone will get some tips and, some sort of experience that they can, rely on to take them through the transitioning period. So, Justine, how are you this evening?
Hi everyone. I am a bit tired, but I'm good.
Great. All right. So I'm just going to go right into it. And we're going to go to your high school years. Can you say which high school this was?
So I went to two high schools. I went to Excelsior High School. Whoop whoop. Go Eagle Aggie anymore. And I also went to Campadon High School.
Wonderful.
Big up Campadon all the time.
All right. So what would you say was your most rewarding part of attending high school?
Wow, that's a very loaded question. I think I enjoyed every part of it, to be honest. I met some really amazing teachers who have become family. Also met some amazing friends who have also become family. And I've come to grow and love, what Excelsior stands for, what Campadon stands for, and how it has contributed to my growth and development. Excelsior I've done 6 years and Campadon just 1 year. But both impacted me in different ways, but it was very positive. I especially loved my year in Campadon because I kind of stepped out of the norm. I didn't have any leadership positions at the time, which I would have had from I was in grade 7 until lower six at Excelsior. And I was just able to really bond and really meet some really cool guys for basketball. And that was a really, really great experience. Like I learned so much. But looking back at Excelsior now, Excelsior contributed to a holistic development. Like it's really, really a lovely school that has really focused on building its students in different ways. So it's not just about the academics, but because we have dancing, we have music, drama. Those are subjects that we actually do at school. We do the languages. It's just really, really a great environment for students. So yeah.
Okay. Big up Aggie Animo yet higher. Woo! Nice. And Camperdown, of course. Wonderful. Now, I do know during high school years, well, any area of education, there are challenges, there are anxieties, there are exams and tests and assignments and so on to achieve. What would you say were three coping strategies that you used during your high school years, if those existed?
Alright, so coping strategies that I had. One of the things that I started from grade 7 was I ensured that as much as it was possible, because it's kind of difficult, but I would go through my notes each day, so I'd go over everything. So I remember sitting in the kitchen and going over the words in Spanish. Like even though I can't remember how to make my bed, I said I calm, I like stuff like that, going over and over, because I really do love the languages. Just going over those information. And the second thing that I tried to ensure that I did was to do my homework. I always did my homework. And the third thing I wasn't so great at, to be honest, was to try and get good sleep. So not so great at during the typical hours that I would get sleep, but I would try to ensure I get it in the morning before I go to school, and in the evenings when I'm coming back home. So I think those three actually really help. And also having supportive parents who, when I wasn't getting a concept or something, I would be able to bounce it off them and they would give me their advice and try and guide me to as best as possible.
Okay, wonderful. So I hear you saying you reviewing your notes at the end of the day. I hear you saying that you would ensure that you did your assignments, your homework. I heard you saying that you tried to balance your sleep with, the activities, and that, having a support system, your supportive parents, those who may not have parents but a supportive big sister, a supportive neighbor, etc. So those were some good strategies. Wonderful. How did you manage transitioning from face to face learning to online, then to the hybrid? And this is me jumping right into you leaving high school at the point where COVID 19 made its entrance. So, you'd have left high school, completed high school, looking forward to university, being accustomed to for the past 12, 13 years, sitting in a classroom, and then bam, you have to be online. How do you in retrospect think that you made a transition, and then fast forwarding to the point where you would have had a blended scenario, or you would have had to go back to face and now blended? Walk us through that experience.
Alright, so I'm going to be honest. When my principal, which is Mr. Valentine Bailey at Camperdown, he would have been telling us about COVID like 2 or 3 weeks before COVID came. But in my head, I'm like, oh, COVID, yeah, okay, I hear about that, but that's gonna stay on that side of the world. So I remember in March, he told us that we had to go home. First case of COVID-19, and we will see each other basically in 2 weeks. And I was so happy because at the time I had my Spanish orals to prepare for. I had prepared it, but I didn't learn it, and I was just so on edge. So I was like, okay, I have time. Same thing, I have time to go over my law notes because at the time I was also doing Cape Law and stuff, and I had a lot of time. To be honest, the transition was a bit challenging because now I was home. and I could watch all the Netflix I wanted to watch. I didn't really feel like studying. When I would have classes online, it would be so stressful because I'm like, why do I have to come and sit in front of a device to communicate with my teachers? And one of the things is, as a student, especially a student of the languages, I usually need to see the professors mouth move to say, how I'm supposed to pronounce the word. Even though I was at that big stage, but I still appreciated seeing their face, their expression, and how they made the intonation. So it was a bit, challenging, but eventually I had to say, you know what, I can't spend the entire time just watching shows. I need to, shape up. So over time, I worked hard and I was able to, go and do my exams. So I had to go back to school for exams, and the math square and everything wasn't something I wasn't used to because I would have done it at church. But it was just so weird that you couldn't go and hug your friends, like stuff that we would usually do. It's now
Taboo, like.
are prohibited. Like you can no longer do them. So it was interesting. And then I applied for UA. I would have been expecting to go to UA in person, but it did not happen. So in 2020, I started UA online, and that was a bit of a challenge for me. My first semester, even though I had a structured routine and I did all that I'm supposed to, I felt like I was more tired. I was exercising too, but I was just really tired. And sometimes I didn't feel that much engaged online, but really had to try. Things improved in second semester, but second semester I was still online. By then I had found my bearings, and so it got better. And then for my second year, I went to France. So that was literally back in person, whole different language, whole new ball game. Just getting reoriented to going back into the classroom to doing exams in person. All of that was an interesting transition, especially not in the case where I did it within Jamaica, but within another country. However, I just had to make things work. I mean, if you want good, you know, have to run. So I did the best I could.
Wonderful. So you had some runny nose issues, you had some lot of hoops to actually jump over, hurdles as you mentioned. And we'll hear some more later about her studies, why she's talking about French and studying in French and so on. But can you just say for us what are some of the benefits of each of the learning modalities? So what benefits did you derive from face to face versus benefits from online versus benefits from a blended modality of learning?
Alright, so for face to face definitely has this personal touch. I know that a lot of Jamaican teachers do have that personal touch, so they're able to identify and see, oh, this student maybe struggling with something, and it also gives students an opportunity to be able to speak freely to their teachers because they're actually seeing them interacting with them, and they're able to answer and ask certain questions, as well as, like, for example, if you do the sciences or if you do the languages, like being able to see and interact is like really is so important. Not saying that it's not important for the other subjects, but it's also very important, and it keeps you engaged because you're not just there sitting on a screen. Like, I remember I got Zoom fatigue. That became a thing. In terms of online now incorporates so many different opportunities. So, for example, I remember we were able to meet a negotiator that was in, I don't remember, I think the person was in Europe at the time in my first class, international relations class in first year. She wasn't in Jamaica, but we were able to meet and interact with her. It also gave me the opportunity to study with persons. Before, we would say if I wanted to study with somebody, I had to be in the same space as them. But being online allowed me to study with different persons, and that was a really interesting. I remember preparing for exams in university in first year, and a lot of them were done through study groups online. Group works were done study group online. It made us connect even a different level, even though sometimes it can be a bit off-putting. Um, the hybrid now is just a combination of both, to be honest. It's a combination. It gives you some level and semblance of balance.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, face to face is the best. Is the best way. That's my opinion.
So you never too enjoy being in your bed in your nightgown and learning, eh?
I did enjoy that part, but sometimes it was just too monotonous and not, engaging and fun as I
Oh,
wanted it to be.
okay, wonderful. All right, so you spoke a lot about the languages and what you did. Tell us a little bit about your course of study and why you chose this course of study.
All right, so my course of study is called a Master's in Politics and International Cooperation. Now, this does not mean that I want to become a politician. I tell everybody this. I'm not interested in becoming a politician, but I really enjoy international relations. Now, when I did French at CSEC, my French teacher at the time, he told me about this program, and I was like, wow, it sounds so interesting. And I've always wanted to study in a different country in their language, not in mine. So I was also thinking of going to Cuba to become a doctor. So if it wasn't French, it was going to be Spanish because those are the two languages I've done from grade 7 and 8 all the way up to the Cape level. So clearly, I have a real great love for the languages. So this program is offered by the University of the West Indies, and it's in cooperation with Sciences Po Bordeaux in France and Université des Antilles in Martinique. It's a triple joint cooperation. Jamaican students in the program with 6 degrees, so a bachelor's and a master's from each university. So, in order to access the program, students would have had to do French up to the Cape level, and you'd have to do French 1001 and French 1002 in your first year. You can actually be a language major, but most persons are usually international relations majors and persons who are doing French 101 and French 1002. You'll apply. Actually, the deadline is coming up soon, so if you attend UE and you're interested, March 12th, send your application after Dr. Johnson. So once you apply and get through, then you will do your second year of university in Bordeaux. Your third year will be in Martinique, and then your fourth year, you return to Bordeaux to do a master's of your choice. There are various choices. I actually didn't do a political science or international relations master's. I did a master's in business management and strategy. So there are various options. And also, Sciences Po Bordeaux is the equivalent of a Ivy League school within the European zone. So, if you reach, you reach. And then finally, you complete the master's at UA. So each university gives you a master's and a bachelor's. And it's a really great experience. It's challenging because everything is in French. I think in the 3 years that I was away, each year I only had one class in English, and it didn't mean that it wasn't a class that lasted for the entire semester. It would just be one semester. No, the entire school year just be one semester out of the two. So it takes a lot of concentration, and you really have to be dedicated and thing. But the French, my French classmates, they are the best, and so it's thanks to them and interacting persons from Martinique, like the church in Martinique. They really have helped, you know, help my French language to really improve. So yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So it is really the love of the languages that drew you basically to this program.
Yeah, because I don't want to become a politician, as I said. I'm really just interested in the international relations aspects. I mean, I do understand the political aspect, and that's very important. But international cooperation is really what I'm interested in. So, yeah.
Okay, so in a short, for those of us who perhaps never heard the term international relations or international cooperation, simply what exactly does this entail?
So, international relations, well, the practice of it is the little IR, but the study of it is the big IR that you will typically see. And this really just looks at how it is that countries, actors, whether it be NGOs, individual actors, terrorists, how all of these people interact within the world space. because we know that we live in a globalized age, and this is actually what international relations studies. So just looking at how these different actors are interacting on a daily basis. We have theories like realism, liberalism, which are the typical theories, but it has gone even as far to constructivism. So the theories continue to evolve and emerge, and IR is not just, as I just mentioned, there are so many different parts to it. There's regionalism, which is a part of IR. I'm doing a course on Latin America right now, and that's also a part of IR. So, I mean, it's very vast and broad.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Do you have any regrets to, in pursuing this course? I mean, this is like what, 5 years? 5 years of school
After how many
after
years?
how many years of school?
Um, no, I don't. The reason why I didn't go to Cuba is because I realized I was not that a big fan of the sciences. So no, the 5 years going straight. No, I don't, because I also had opportunities to do internships within the time. So I did an internship with the local government of Martinique, which is la CTM, Collectivité Territoriale de la Martinique. So the Territorial of Martinique, which is the local government. Martinique is a territory of France, and they have a government that basically runs, day-to-day operations. Actually, to say government might sound a little weird. They actually have they have the representation from France, but this government that I'm speaking about is the government that is voted in by the people. The people are the ones who choose this particular government from their own people to actually act on certain affairs. And so I got a chance to work in their international relations department, and that was really cool. I've also had the opportunity to work with another NGO, which is called Youth Can Do IT, and this was hybrid. Despite being in Martinique, they still allowed me to work with them. And last year I went to London for a presentation on Project Amplify. So, I mean, I don't really have any regrets. I think probably the only thing I regret was that I used to miss classes when I was in France in first year, because it was so cold. So maybe I should have, tried to do a bit better. Um, and maybe a bit more confident in the fact that, I was learning the language and I shouldn't have felt that way because I wasn't speaking like the natives. But otherwise from that, no, it's been such a fulfilling experience. And even my friends and I were able to travel. I mean, in first year we really didn't think about the fact that, oh, we're in Europe, we could travel. But we planned it out where we went to Rome and we went to Spain. And it's been just a really, really, really great experience. We've met so many persons from diverse backgrounds, because the program that we are a part of, it's unique to Sciences Po Bordeaux. And what happens is that we've met persons from Spain who are doing the same, study profile like us, Germany, Italy, who am I forgetting? Hong Kong, um Portugal. I'm maybe forgetting some other persons, but
So it's a melting pot of different.
it's a multicultural kind of a
Right.
experience.
Okay.
And this is not Erasmus. This is like literally we do the same exams as the French students. We have to do the same presentations as them. There's no exception of, oh, because you don't speak the language. No, we all have to be putting out the same effort as they do.
Okay, level playing field. Wonderful. I was going to be asking you about the rewarding, but I hear you going to Rome and traveling and meeting all sorts of people. And I think that's rewarding enough. And wow, nice, nice. So you are nearing the end of your course right now. Just a few more weeks, few more months to go. What are you looking forward to the most at this time?
Freedom. To be
It's
honest,
a Black History Month, freedom coming.
it has been very tiring, year after year, preparing for examinations and all of that. So looking forward to the freedom of not being a student, but I'm also looking forward to finding an opportunity that will allow me to use up all of these resources and information that I've gathered, and actually pour into others and pour into organizations that are actually around. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, not having to go to school, but then I'm gonna have to go to work. So I'm still undecided about that. But yeah,
You may say lesser evil.
yeah, I'm not sure. We're gonna find out soon.
Okay. Would you recommend this program to anyone and why?
Yeah, I would recommend the program that I'm doing to persons who are lovers of French. Um, and if you have an interest in international relations, I must tell you that my first year I really didn't like it because it was so European based and focused on Europe. I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong, we were in Europe. They were supposed to be talking about Europe. But I found that, I wasn't too interested in that. But I eventually found what I liked. And so therefore, I believe that if it is that you're interested in French and you like international relations, then this is a program that you should try out. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So, if you were chosen as the marketing representative for this international relations, international cooperation program,
It's called MPIC for short.
MPIC, what would that pitch be like?
So MPIC or FIFCA, multicultural, diverse, traveling, language, fun, food, hard work, but worth it in the end.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. And I do hope that with someone listening, it will pique their interest, it will stimulate something within them, and, for them to recognize that there are different opportunities about, and, transitioning from high school into university and eventually into life.
Psalm 37, verse 8 says, "Don't get angry. Don't be upset. It only leads to trouble." This is NRP Media and Radio. The time is 7 o'clock.
People, Jesus love no. Him say man go put the angels a little bit above no. Tell me if tell you anymore.